Davis on the line, and I have a list of things that we want to go through today in terms of the scope of today's broadcast. And Erin had posted up, and I saw it as I was moving through our information here, that Jesus did not speak politically correct. And I see political correctness as perhaps one of the most powerful tools of evil that has been brought to bear upon those who love God and love His Word and love this nation. And so I thought I would just have just a couple of moments. Erin, if you have 2 moments, I wanted to speak to you about that, get your take on that, and then we're going to let you go. What did you mean by Jesus was not politically correct?
Yes, Pastor Manning, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I got you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I believe that, yes, I hear you fine. I believe that Jesus Christ was not politically correct, and He didn't pussyfoot around the bush and beat around the bush, and maybe He could have done that 50 years ago, but the times are drawing near, and we don't have time for that.
Well, Erin, one of the things, the reason why I call you is because I don't beat around the bush. I mean, my position is this: if it's truth, then it's truth. Why should I mix a little bit of lies with it? Why should I mix a little bit of lies, a little bit of deceit and deception, so that the truth will not be truth? It'll be something that people approve other than the truth. You follow what I'm saying?
I sure do, Pastor Manning. I sure do.
Well, I'm going to keep on speaking this, and I want to urge all pastors to come out and just flat out speak the truth and use language that gets people's attention. Don't try to be cute and sound educated and all of that kind of a thing. Erin, I believe that a large reason why we're in such trouble today is because pastors and leaders, but pastors in particular, use language that they feel is not offensive. But Jesus called people snakes. He called them vipers. He didn't spare any. I mean, all the terms that were relative to of that day, He used them.
That's right. And I believe political correctness is stifling free speech, and it's it's purposefully done and very, very craftily organized.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to get you on to have a conversation about that with you today. But you're right. Free speech. When you tell people, when people tell you that you need to speak in a different tone, and I get that all the time. I mean, people say, "Well, you ought not speak so harshly." I don't think I'm speaking harshly, And then things we put out on our announcement board that's backed up by Scripture. We've had literally hundreds of people light up the police department in our local neighborhood, calling and complaining, and the police department tell us, well, what we say is protected under the Constitution, and it is absolutely right. It is. So, but what you're saying is that really people's constitutional rights are being taken away from them when they are cowered into speaking politically correct. In other words, they don't have that.
Yes.
Is that what I hear you saying?
That's what I'm saying.
So where do you see us going with this? I mean, are people going to continue to let this evil spirit dominate, or are people going to step out and say, I'm going to speak the truth and I'm going to tell it in the language that gets people's attention. I'm going to say it just as raw as it needs to be said.
That's right. And people talk about Jesus being so tolerant, but He did not tolerate sinners.
No, He didn't. And, the sodomite community, these homosexuals, they're trying to hijack Jesus and the New Testament. I mean, they're telling, at least they're telling me and others, what Jesus would and would not do, what Jesus meant and did not mean. I mean, they're trying to hijack. I said to them, listen, Jesus sends sinners to hell, and you're a sinner, and you're going to hell. All this business about Jesus being about love and love only and turning the other cheek, and never said anything about these sodomites, but they're not receiving that. And Erin, I got to tell you, churches are running away from this as fast as they possibly can.
Yes, they are. To try to divide the word between the Old and New Testament and divide Jesus from the God of the Old Testament. God yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Erin, thank you so very much. I realize you've got some responsibilities today with your family members. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate
God bless you, Pastor Manning.
God bless you as well.
Take care.
You do the same.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, that was Erin Davis, and the Erin Imagine Davis, and she's the wife of Rudy Davis, who from Lone Star 1776. You've heard him. Talking about speaking politically correct. You ought to hear Erin, not Rudy talk. And anyway, I'm sure you have, so you get the idea why I'm laughing. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to be right back with more of our broadcast day. Again, we've had just some exciting announcements about our participation. And by the way, I don't want to mislead anyone to think that Sheriff Opaya will be with us at Gettysburg. He will not. But he is sending a letter stating why. And I think that is so commendable of Sheriff Opaya, of the people that we have reached out to. And want to thank Mickey Booth for her assistance in contacting Sheriff Opaya. But his secretary, personal secretary, called me on Friday and stated that he will not be with us because he's just not traveling right now. But she will send a letter. Well, don't you think that's a great thing that Sheriff Joe Opaya, America's greatest sheriff, will send a letter for our Gettysburg event? I just think that's a great thing, and I see it as great news for us. And the purpose that we wanted Sheriff Opaya for was to lay the wreath at the memorial, the peace, eternal peace light memorial. But we've now been able to get a 21-gun salute, and I believe we've got a high-ranking officer to the level maybe even of General David Gilley, who will be laying the wreath, along with Larry Ligori of the Pennsylvania chapter of Oath Keepers will be there and making statements as well, and orchestrating a 21-gun salute. So it's been a tremendous weekend, and that's just the beginning of some of the great things that have happened since you and I last talked, going back a few days ago. Going to take a quick break, and I'll be